Here's something everyone loves. Group projects, right? Who doesn't love those? Having to work with a total stranger, doing equal amounts of work, getting equal credit for it, having the exact same idea about something and how to accomplish it. Yes, everyone loves group assignments. So we all show up to class one day, I forget which one, and there's this gawky fucker up at the front of the room. Let's call him Angus, because if I say his actual name, he'll get pissed off at me for implicating him like this. Actually, I forget who gave us this assignment, so I guess it doesn't matter, but it seems like the kind of thing Angus would have done to us, so let's just say it was him. Angus tells us we're going to do a project about typography, so everyone gets a letter of the alphabet, you find your partner, and then you make a book about that letter. Well worth the cost of college tuition. My partner was this girl Harmony. That's not really her name, but we're going to call her Harmony. And she was my polar opposite. She was, as far as I could tell, a reserved girl from the prairies who loved horses, painting, and Jesus. Whereas I was, of course, a sarcastic lad from the suburbs who loved rock and roll, staying indoors, and making fun of people who loved horses, painting, and Jesus. We were a perfect match. We got saddled with the letter P. Now I know what you're thinking, but there were no peckers or pussies in our book, for two reasons. Mainly, she wasn't having any of it. And second, because we had to do the whole thing without using any drawings. All the art had to be made using text or graphic elements like rectangles and shit. And we had to use a program called Adobe InDesign. What the fuck is that? None of us knew. Publishing software? Paragraph styles? Typesetting? Our class must have looked like a specialized ward for patients of head trauma who were also methadone addicts. But we forged ahead anyway, because, grades. So we're at her place, and she's talking about her boyfriend, or horses, or some combination of the two. And inevitably, she asks if there was a special lady in my life, a certain someone to take the pressure off old Lefty once in a while, So I tell her I used to date Nola, and she's like, when the hell did that happen? And I'm like, right? But eventually, we forced ourselves to do some work. She hated it. In fact, back in class, it was pretty clear that everyone hated it. Of all the art projects we'd done that year, this one was the least art. Page layouts and print settings, this was not what any of these kids had signed up for. They wanted something expressive, but I actually didn't mind that much. This was the kind of thing I seemed to enjoy. Perhaps I had suffered head trauma, and that made me feel weird. I didn't really have any friends, and believe it or not, back then I was still pretty shy. I was not yet the majestic, outspoken bastard I am today. I was, at least in part, an outsider, and this project was highlighting it. I mean, Harmony probably wouldn't even give me the time of day if we didn't have to work on that dumbass book, and my only relationship that year was a joke. Thank God I had a project I liked to distract me from my crippling loneliness. Well, kinda. One day in class, Harmony says, "You still like her, don't you?" I told her I didn't. I just hated seeing her every day as a constant reminder of my fuck-up, and I still didn't know why the whole thing had changed. I hated feeling like someone's embarrassing secret, like no one knew who I was or even knew that I was there. A couple of days before the project's due, everyone's in the computer lab trying to just hammer it out. Harmony's there, that guy Thad who let me that Conte and life drawing, so-and-so, what's-his-face, even that little Asian girl who never talked to anyone or made eye contact or who we weren't even sure was the same Asian girl from day to day. What? It's fucking true. All my colleagues working together because they were forced to do work that none of them wanted to do. Ah, life. But no, dear viewers, the blind incubus of cynicism would not prevail that night, for the heady aroma of camaraderie was in the air. On the top floor of the J-Wing computer labs, like heretics toiling away on scriptures of penance in a forgotten prison's tallest tower, we did that which dark forces fear the most. We bonded. We ordered pizza. We smuggled in alcohol. We lied to security guards, and we worked on our shitty projects. It felt good to socialize a bit with my classmates. They weren't as laid back as the photography kids or as wild as the media arts kids, and while I didn't really feel like I belonged per se, I felt like, hey, these guys are pretty all right. Because, life is a group project. And I know that makes me sound like an after-school special, and also really old for referencing after-school specials, but it's true. We all have to do things we don't want to, with people we don't know or don't like, and we put in different amounts of effort or feel screwed over or don't end up with the result or respect we wanted, but in the end, you just gotta fucking do it. I still have the book, actually, and you know what? It sucks. You try your best, you move on, and then you forget it ever happened. And life is kind of like that too.